The biggest market crash of the year has indeed finally arrived. It was a bit later this year, so there's some interesting things kind of going on with the market right now that I do want to talk about today. And I apologize for being late because I feel awful. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I woke up and I just felt terrible. So my voice sounds weird. I apologize for that. We've got some discourse on FC25 game sales. There's a couple interesting things have happened with that as well. And Evos are back. So nice, finally. And we did get some pretty good ones today. There is some other news to talk about too. If you guys would like to buy coins, you can go to mmoxp.com. There will be a link in the description. They are the cheapest and safest option. You can use my code JFC at checkout for a 5% discount. We'll open this Max 88 base icon upgrade for tomorrow's video, I think. This did drop today. If you guys get something good, let me know in the comments. But also what was hilarious is you might have logged on at content time today if you were in the United States and saw there was no content because it was actually daylight savings time in the UK. The content was an hour later, or at least that was supposed to be the case. But what actually happened was EA must have fucked something up because his Jonathan David card came out an hour after it was supposed to, and the evolution came out at the right time. So I think that somebody at EA probably just fucked up and put on the wrong time again. I don't really know what other circumstance causes for them to accidentally drop a player SBC and an upgrade an hour later on the day of daylight savings time when they probably just fucked up again. So it just goes to show you once again that there's probably like a couple people working on things like that, and things can just slip by. No, EA, it's not thousands of eyes on everything. We are not going to buy that for a second. But David came out, he looks all right. It is nice to see the roles like the false 9++, poacher, and advanced forward. I do think that the roles problem will get better as the year goes on, just because we're going to have more of them. So it helps and it's nice, but I think it would be really cool to not have these, and then just think about all the instructions you could play on people if there was no roles, right? So everything stayed the same. You could put your striker on target forward, false 9, or poacher or whatever, but every player could play whatever role they wanted to, no pluses needed. I think that just should be the future here, but they're not going to do that. They're not going to go back on this because it's going to probably be an incentivization to open packs when players have new roles. So they're not going to go back on that. Also, I want to remind you guys right now that we can save XP for next season. At least that was the case all of last year. They might have changed that for this year. We'll only find out when the new season comes out, but every group reward you can save. So that 50 XP there for the daily objectives, you can save. Weekly objectives, 200 XP, you can save that for the new seasons. If you leave it unclaimed, they go into the next season, right? The thing with this year is that you actually have so many different objectives that you can do. There's more group rewards now. So player objectives, 350, and then 300 here for this one. So there's actually a lot of XP you can get right away for next season, which kind of inclines me to believe. I don't think that's the right word. Leads me to believe they might not do this because there's also 1,000 XP for the techs and the Levi tactics. So maybe they don't do that, but once again, just save it in case, honestly, especially for level 40, just save it. And what I will appreciate from EA here is that we did get all of the old Evos we were supposed to get at the same time once the evolution problem was fixed. So yes, still absolute pure incompetence here. Don't get that fucked up, but at least they gave us like all the content we missed. So I guess that's nice. Also, Brilliant Bomb Pastor came out. Looks very good, by the way. There's like a Mendy evolution that looks crazy. There's a lot of really good cards in here, but what minor gripe here, we talk about how you can't do this in squad battles or FUT champs. I mean, why rush rivals and friendlies? You can't do it in squad battles. And you might say, okay, who cares? There's still 3 different options there for you to do it in. But this is always my problem with like how EA set up the game is they don't let you dictate your own experience. It has to be so tailored to what they want you to do because they have such a strategic setup to be like, oh, okay, well, we'll take you here and then we'll take you here. And then you got to spend money to then go here. And it's just like all kind of not my philosophy on how I think they should do it, where it should be more like, go have fun with whatever you have fun doing. And they just don't want you to do that. So yes, I'm still finding a way to complain about a good evolution, but I will say evolution is very good. Okay, on to the news now. We do know pretty much for certain that Lewandowski is going to win the Player of the Month award. There's pretty much no doubt about it now, except this pace is like incorrect. Plus 10 pace compared to his Team of the Week card. That won't be the case. He'll have like 80 pace max basically. And unfortunately, he does not have Finesse Shot Plus. He has Chip Shot Plus. So this card probably does not look as good as this at all when it comes out. It could change a playstyle, of course, but it's most likely going to be an 80 pace Chip Shot Plus striker SPC, which isn't quite as cool, but I haven't really used Lewandowski this year. If you guys have, let me know if you guys have liked him. Also, the max 88 icon is 330k, so it is not cheap, but like I said in the last video, if this were to come out, it wasn't probably going to be cheap just because of the fact that there's a lot of expensive cards in that pack. 30 cards above the SBC cost threshold, and then below only 19 cards, which of course, the 19 cards higher pack weight than the 30, but there's still a lot of cards you can get in there that are over the value. But then there was this news kind of going viral today a little bit, was that FC25 is on sale already, 60% off within a month. So 60% off the Ultimate Edition of the game. game from 100 pounds down to 40 pounds in the space of pretty much exactly a month since the full release came out. And I will say, I think this is the earliest I've ever seen it on sale. I think usually the first sale of the year is about Black Friday. I want to say, I could be wrong about that. There could have been times before where there was a sale around this time. But for the last few years that I've been really in tune with random things like this, there's not been a sale this quickly. Usually it's Black Friday. So is there anything to infer from this information of like, I wonder if the sales are maybe slightly down this year? And it's also a 60% off sale, which usually you might see it go from 100 pounds to 70 pounds or 100 pounds to 80 pounds, you know, back to like the base price, right? And then the base price might go down by 10 pounds or $10, right? Whatever. But 60% off the Ultimate Edition is a pretty crazy sale. Now, maybe this means nothing. Maybe they're just, you know, incentivizing people to join the game because they're doing the whole casino thing where they'll get you in more often so that you can spend more money actually in the game. Less of a barrier of entry to actually, you know, enter the gambling, right? Maybe that's just what they're thinking here. Or we just have less people playing the game this year. I'm not really sure. I guess I'm asking you guys what you think about that. And I just am pretty sure that this sale, I've never seen one this big, this early. It is a pretty big sale. A lot of people on Twitter complaining about the fact that the market just died, right? People were saying, oh, you make more, you lose more than you make now playing Weekend League every weekend. And it's sort of like true, but also the market's been pretty easy to read this year, so it's not all doom and gloom. But also, this is why right here, pretty much the best way to play this game, which I don't agree with myself. I thought the market aspect of the game was really interesting to me. I mean, I made my channel initially kind of to be a trading type channel and investment tips and that kind of thing. But honestly, the EA you still can do that, but it's not that interesting anymore because the market dies so often that it becomes a thing where people just get discouraged from wanting to trade because I lose so many coins constantly. I just go untradeable. Plus, there's better SBCs than ever, so why not go untradeable? And that really just seems like the best thing to do. It used to be the case where, I mean, it's kind of not happened this year, so I'll preface that, but it used to be the case where market crashes were basically Black Friday, Team of the Year, Mad HT Gamer video, and Team of the Season. It was like, we had like 3 over the course of the whole year that were guaranteed, and you'd have some random ones in there, but there really wasn't that many. Post like FIFA 21, it's basically been Friday promo time equals the market literally could die. People just gotta get discouraged from trading because why wouldn't you when you go and you just lose coins and you buy teams and you lose coins? And EA like when you lose coins because then you want to go and get them back again through FIFA points. There is more news to talk about, but I'll briefly go over the market crash right now. I mean, Kies at 35,000. We actually talked about him. I think, what was he, 65K, 70K when we talked about selling last Friday. Usually you see this sort of gold crash a couple weeks ago. So this year it's a little bit later. What does that mean for, I guess, the rest of the market? Because what about icons, right? People are starting to get icons now. Like, when do those cards peak? You know, Beckham 590, Shevchenko 320, Perez 296, Nedved 300K, like those types of mid-range icons. When do those peak? Well, the nice thing is, I think you guys have a lot of time to buy these cards. I think these cards should mostly stay pretty stable. There are some that I worry about that maybe aren't the best. I mean, even someone like Pavel Nedved, right? Because he has winger plus, maybe isn't going to stay super high for long. Icons are always safe, though, keep in mind. But, you know, we might be saying, okay, Frank Lampard's 430. That's got to be an early game type price because Frank Lampard's never this expensive. Well, the reason he is this expensive is because he has center mid box to box plus, which people don't really have. Keep in mind, these lower end icons will probably stay up a little bit higher this year because they're actually more in the power curve than they were last year because of their roles. So they should stay even safer for a long period of time, actually. You know, these are always the ones I recommend. Anytime you guys go and buy a team, I always say icons, heroes, rare cards are always really the best option. I mean, obviously, but my point is that it's like your only option nowadays to reliably keep your coins if you're tradable in the market. The best thing to do still is probably just play untradeable as much as you can, earn up all those coins, and then spend them on things to have fun. That's really like the best way to do it. Also, Pakelme, interesting tweet here, right? The one thing Rush has taught me is there are so many casuals that play EAFC. Play drop-in for 10 games, and you'll see a good 80 to 90% of your teammates be much worse than anyone you'd play in Rivals or Champs. I don't mean the selfishness to not pass for an open goal. I mean the skill and awareness. It's opened my eyes a bit to who actually plays the game, i.e. someone that understands when and when not to use the sprint button. And this is a good point because if you play Rush drop-ins, I just tweeted about this actually. I said, I can't take it anymore. Stop locking Evos behind Rush wins. I'm going insane. Play the clip. Are you fucking serious right now? It does make you wonder about kind of, I mean, EA know all these numbers internally, right? They know how many players are the casual players, the hardcore players, the players who don't play anymore, the players who just got the game, all that stuff. They know all the information, obviously. When they look at their numbers and see, yeah, 80 to 90% of players are really kind of the casuals, not that great at the game, and playing Ultimate Team just kind of as like a card collecting type thing, maybe dropping some money here and there and not taking it overly seriously, right? Think about their depleted resources on like their team per se. Obviously, they do not have as many employees as they should have. At least that's what it seems like on the outside looking in, considering the incompetence. I mean, you'd assume that. This is why you see like they don't reward hardcore players, because they don't have enough resources to care about both the hardcore players and the casual players, which there are companies out there that do reward both, guys. That does exist. It's not just as if you can only reward one of the two. I just don't think EA have the resources to actually implement a lot of things into the game that us players who play the game a lot would really love, because they just want to work on other shit because the casuals are just a higher percentage of the player base. So I don't know, it's kind of an interesting discussion on the eye-opening experience that rush drop-ins can be, where it's like, man, there's actually not a lot of very good FIFA players. There's a lot of FIFA players that are just not very good, that are clearly very, very casual. Here's that EA tweet. It was kind of random. It was at 12 a.m. my time on the 26th of October. They tweeted out saying, sorry if you had the evolution problem. They cannot be reverted to their previous state. So they couldn't fix, if you had a card that was bugged, they couldn't fix it, but they did fix the evolution shading problem. Now, I did get a comment saying that it is still broken. Yeah, Titan Monkey right here. Before you go all happy about Evos being fixed on your next vid, they're broken again. Pure unfiltered EA competence. I tried to find things on Twitter about that. I couldn't, but obviously I'm more inclined to believe the fact that EA still have broken something. I think that we don't consider that too far out of the realm of possibilities. So if they are still broken, then I will take back my positivity about it. But yeah. And then M has a good comment here saying, yeah, the co-op glitch isn't fixed yet. 60% of co-op matches you get kicked in the first minute, and there's like no end in sight to this. So do they just not know about it, or do they not care enough to fix it, or are the resources just not there to try and like get to the bottom of that problem? It's that same debate of how can they not fix this yet? You can't really play co-op reliably. If there was a co-op FUT champs right now, you just get disconnected in half your games. Luckily in Rivals, you can kind of make it back, or there's a checkpoint there if you're not in Division 2 or higher, right? But like M said, he probably could be Division 2 or higher, but he's still in there because they get kicked all the time. Brain Death says, I watched this guy for over a year now, and I still cannot find out what he is saying at the end. Good, and you may never know. Also, I saw this comment that I was seeing also on Twitter was that 4-2-4 with both fullbacks on false back, both wingers left on winger, and one of the strikers on false 9. I was seeing this on Twitter too. I think a pro was rocking these, and they said that 2 fullbacks on false back was like a crazy combination. So kind of a random tactic shout out there that if you want to try some new tactics, try those out. Guillerme says rush situation is by far the player's fault. Some of them enjoy to ruin the experience of others. Some are lazy or have zero ball knowledge. Also, EA tried to fix the no pass player situation by putting objective that requires assists, and people started to miss open goals because nobody wants to shoot. And I agree. I think it's a both problem. It's a player problem, and it's an EA problem as well. I think it's both. But the thing is, I think what makes FIFA unique is that objectives a lot of the time are for packs, which are people's addiction. So people will do whatever it takes to feed it as quickly as possible. I know that might be like a hot take, maybe too sort of neuro pseudo science there, but I feel like it's worse in FIFA with this kind of thing because everyone wants the pack so fast because they need that dopamine hit immediately. I feel like that is why things like Rush or just all objectives in FIFA in general seem to be worse on this game for people just doing the right shit because nobody wants to sacrifice their packs for your packs. But hey, I'm sorry I'm late again. I really apologize. Thank you for being here. I love y'all. Peace.